Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure. And Mark, when you were sharing with me that this is actually the last session of the year, I was feeling really honored and also like, wow, the end of the year, the end of the year. And of course, being people who want to explore contemplative practice,
Actually,
mindfulness.
Kimmy, if you don't mind, I'm sorry. I just got a text, and apparently, I don't know. Do want to mention that? Well, I don't know if it's for today, but I don't want to miss the opportunity. But Alan Weisberger is sponsoring the sit in honor of his brother Jack, and I just want to thank Alan for that and note that in case we missed that. So sorry to interrupt you, but I do want to thank Alan and
Thank you, Alan.
for that. Thanks.
No problem. We're always here for gratitude. um, yes, if we're people who seek to think about the world in different ways, we know that there really is, like, the concept of time isn't linear. We know that we are not just bound to the Gregorian calendar. Even just being Jewish people, we follow the moon. We actually have 4 different markers of time that are considered new years outside of the solar new year, that we recognize as January 1st. But being people of this world, we have even more reasons to celebrate. And I'll just share, for me, as someone who's been on the quest to understand my roots and my lineage, and the more I learn about the Mayan and the Pilpiles, who are also my ancestors, they also follow the moon, and they follow the solstice, and which we just celebrated yesterday. So I'll speak more to that. But even though we are approaching the end of the year, it gets to just be another beginning, like every day. And I wanted to actually start our time together with a song. I've been meditating a lot on what are the ways that we can support each other best right now with the ongoing crisis, with the ongoing uncertainty. And to be very, very frank with all of you, I think for the last handful of years, we've kind of been in a hold on mode, between the pandemic and numerous things. And not to start us on a heavy note, but to recognize that we might be feeling tired. We might be feeling like maybe Hanukkah was a little bit difficult this year in some ways. And I want to shine a light, even though we've transitioned from Kislev to Tevet, we're still in this darker time of the year energy. Where can we still continue to lean on our strength within each other, within our practice, within our tradition? So I want to start with an invitation of tenderness, of softness, of compassion, and guide us through some teachings and some learning around that. And for this, I'm going to call on the beautiful music of Batya Levine. If any of you are familiar with them, Batya has really woven the Jewish text tradition with music in such a fantastic way. And Jordan's going to put the lyrics in the chat for this song. And the invitation here is just for a couple of minutes to lean back and to listen to the words, allow them to land with you, particularly in your heart space. If it's comfortable to you, you can sit back, and maybe there's a hand that wants to rest on the heart. Maybe the eyes want to close. Maybe your breath wants to move into the chest space. But this is where we'll begin. And so I hope you can join me in just moving through the waves of this song, and then we'll begin our practice together.
You're doing okay. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take time. Hey, you're doing okay. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take time. The heart is a muscle contracting, expanding. Feel the waves and learn the lessons. Time. It's gonna take time. The heart is a muscle contracting, expanding. Feel the waves and learn the lessons. Time. It's gonna take time. Hey, you're doing okay. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take time. Hey, hey, you're doing okay. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take time.
Think about 1 more minute with this song.
The heart is a muscle contracting, expanding. Feel the waves and learn the lessons. Time. It's gonna take time. The heart is a muscle contracting, expanding. Feel the waves and learn the lessons. Time. It's gonna take time. Hey, you're doing okay. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take time. Oh, hey, you're doing okay.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me in this song. And I'd love to hear in the chat if there were any thoughts or feelings or reflections that arose as we listen. I wanted to lean into this idea of compassion, particularly as we make this transition into another marker of time. This year has asked us to do and be, oh, thanks, Mark, to do and be a lot of things that maybe we weren't prepared for, ready for, wanted to be. Being tough, being strong, being in grief, among a few. And we're in this state of continually seeking hope. And as the song suggests, our heart is a muscle expanding, contracting, and things move in waves. And when I think about where we are in the Torah right now, we have the story of Joseph. If you've been following a short summary, Joseph, one of the many sons of Jacob, was taken as a slave to Egypt. And it was because he had a special gift of interpreting dreams and was able to share that gift. It was a way for him to find a new path of really survival, but also he became an asset. He became a leader unexpectedly. But something that seemed like an impossibly hopeless situation somehow shifted. And I don't know what great miracle is yet to come, but even just the idea of putting our energy in a miracle or in compassion or in humanness, even in just believing and hope a little bit more each day, we can keep the belief there. And I'm reading some of these messages about this is something I needed to hear, a value of calm, of patience, making my happiness a priority, beautiful. We just need to keep riding the waves, letting the pain, struggle, and even joy move through us as they come, and don't get stuck anymore. And of course, whatever it might be that is happening in the collective with Jewish people, with all humans, there's also things that we're moving through in our own lives. We're moving through relationships, through work, through health things, through all of that. And something that can be very grounding for all of us as seekers of mindfulness and meditation is compassion. The Dalai Lama in Buddhism speaks so much about compassion. It's this greatest wisdom of truly being aware, of being willing to be in dialogue with self and practice with self. How am I holding this moment? And it's that difference between being reactive and being responsive. And being responsive means we're in choice. We're in a state of choice. How will I be present in this moment, and what will be the action I take. And when we have that relationship to ourselves, we can consciously practice and choose that path of compassion. And so I share this as an invitation for all of us as we go into this next marker of time. Where might we be able to hold compassion, even when it feels tough? And I want you to know that this message comes to you not just through our Torah portions, not just through meditation and what the Eastern philosophies have to offer us, but also our stars and our moon and the sun, what all of our celestial ancestors have to say to us. And this is something that I've been really learning about and feeling held by. If any of you have been following, we had a solstice yesterday in the Northern Hemisphere, the winter solstice, and in the Southern Hemisphere, and even where I am in the tropics, the summer solstice. And just to call it December solstice, it's this transition of time moving and shifting. And some of the wisdom keepers that I've been learning from around this time talk about how it really is this energetic move and shift into something fresh. And this was before January 1st was established. This was the noticing of how the planet is moving with our celestial phenomenons and shifting the land, shifting the way that we feel, shifting the way that we move through our days. And so whether you're celebrating New Year's or not, there is something changing at this period of time. And especially in Judaism, we were following all of these things above us. And so my hope for all of us is that because we have this shift holding us, and because we have this Torah portion that's really asking us to expect the unexpected, maybe we can flow with that idea and that energy of where can a shift take place in my life? Where can I hold compassion for myself, for my family, for my loved ones, for my community, for the people who are outside of my community that are intertwined with my community now, for all of humanity? Where can we lead with compassion? And I want to mention something around Joseph also, because as I mentioned, his gift was around interpreting dreams. And so when I think about this time in the like in the commercial calendar, everyone's talking about resolutions and goals and dreams. Yeah, this is a time of dreams. And it's interesting. I met someone from Brooklyn who a couple of Jewish guys. They were really nice. They came down here to surf, and it was so nourishing to meet some people from my extended global Jewish family, some familiarity. And we were talking about the Torah portion, and I said, it's really interesting because I've been having really vivid dreams, and we're in this parsha. This was last week. We're in this parsha around Joseph's dreams, and he said, "Yeah, me too." And I'm just curious if anyone else has had that. Has anyone else had vivid dreams or waking up in the middle of the night or anything? There's something, yeah, some of us have. So there's very much some alignment here. Very interesting. Our Torah is moving with us. And so we're in this time of dreaming. That is the call right now. Where can we dream? So I'm offering this to all of us to meditate today, if you feel inspired. What is a dream that you have for yourself? What is a dream that you have for your loved ones and for the world at large? There's a lot of heaviness and sadness around, and that's going to exist whether we choose to see it or not. And what we can do is match that energy with dreaming, with hope, with the unexpected, with belief, with anything other than this, to meet it halfway. And when I think about the resilience that we hold as Jewish people from generation to generation, it is that continued hope. It is that candle in the darkness. It is that coming together and laughing and having marriages and celebrating the harvest, no matter what. As we really go into this next year, maybe we can choose to carry that belief of joy and hope. And that's what I wanted to share with you all today. And I'm so glad that it gets to be the last gathering of the year, because I'm passing this to you to now pass to someone else, to pass on that idea of dreaming, of believing, of hoping, because this is the time that we need it most. Maybe we got a boost during Hanukkah, we had all of our lights illuminated, and now we get to be the shamashes in the world to move through and carry that light. And I want to share one more little connection story here. There's nothing random in this world. The longer that I spend on this earth, the more I realize, wow, everything is connected and there are no accidents. So I'm here in El Salvador. I've been spending more time around family and community. And where I live, I'm kind of in a rural area by the beach. And there's a big tree outside my door. And there's an iguana that lives there. And it's pretty big. It's about the size of my arm. And this iguana has been nesting. And I noticed one day that there were little heads poking out of the tree. The iguana is a mama and had babies. And immediately I was captivated, and I had to understand more about this iguana. And I started learning about how iguanas and lizards are in the tradition of animal interpretation and animal medicine. Even the iguana is a symbol of dreams. And so I don't take any of that as an accident. And these can all be messages of hopefulness, of moving forward, of holding ourselves in the highest way as we go into this next chapter. So that is my hope for all of us, that we can continue to lead with compassion and with joy. We're clearly being supported by the solstice, by the Parsha, by this marker of time, by just the energy of being together. And even the iguanas are here to remind us. I'm here to pass that on to you. So as we get prepared for meditation today, we get ready to be with ourselves, may we lean into the words, this lesson of the heart that we heard in our opening song. May we breathe with the contractions and the expansion of the heart. May we ride these waves with hopefulness. I'll lead us into our guided or our personal meditation. If you want to find a comfortable seat. Finding any way that's supportive to you, either sitting tall or laying back. And something to help you settle in. If you'd like, you can breathe in and bring your shoulders up to your ears and down your back. Resting your arms somewhere comfortably in your lap, on your legs. You can take a gentle swallow. Unclench your jaw. Start to close your eyes down. Turning your attention inward. Starting to follow the breath. Bringing your attention into your heart space again. Bringing your awareness into whatever place, whatever intention you want to hold for our meditation today. Inhaling deeply and exhaling completely. And being here now. becoming aware of your breath. Noticing your inhales and exhales. Breathing into the heart space, the seat of compassion. Carrying that with us into the day, into Shabbat. Breathing into the fingers and toes, calling our bodies back into our spaces. Gently bringing palms together in front of the heart. You can rub your hands, building warmth to awaken all of your senses, and gently place your palms over your eyes. And slowly flutter your eyes open to call yourself back into your space, back into our room together with my heart to yours. Thank you all. May this time be one of compassion and healing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kimmy. It was a beautiful way to close 2023 and segue into the new year, past the solstice, and to feel some hopefulness too. Really, really needed. Thank you so much. We seal the practice as we do by offering opportunity for those of you who are in mourning or observing a yard site to say the Kaddish, to put the name or names of anyone you're honoring, remembering today in the chat now or after we recite Kaddish. As always, if you're not reciting Kaddish, if it's possible for you to please stay present for those who are, so that you can extend your support and compassion to them. And if you are reciting Kaddish, I invite you to join me by rising in body or in spirit. Thanks, Jordan, for sharing the words on the screen. And you can unmute at this time.
Yitgadal,
Gadal,
Yitgadash,
Yitgadash,
Yerabah,
Yirabah,
Yama, Divra, Yitavia,
Kadal Yitgadash
Chayechon,
Merabah
Yomechon, Eidechol, Beitachon,
La Uzma
La
Karivi,
Uzma
Rame,
Kariv,
Shme Rame,
Ishme Rabba
Shabbat,
Achim,
Nese,
Rabban Barach
Davida, Levita,
Shalem
Lashmi,
Baruch Baral
Ila
Shabbat
Mikol Vechatav, Shirata, Tushka
Viet
Hadav,
Nase
Hamata,
Dar
Yeram
Vitalem
Biama,
Shemed V'Chel
Yehesh, Lamala,
Ata
Bechatav,
V'Shirata Ata Ishlama Rabba
Ishlama
Mishpaya
Rabba
Aleinu
Mishpaya,
Yom Kol
Aleinu,
Yisrael
Aleinu, Yom Israel,
Sheh Shalom
Amen.
Mam
Zeh
Sheh
Shalom
Shalom
B'Mimayim, Zeh
Yahu
Shalom,
Yisrael
Inu V'Yalko Yisrael,
Yokol Yoshe
Yoshne
Tevel
Tevel, Ru.
Yimru
Amen.
Amen.
Friends, thank you so much for joining us today. If you're leaving us now, I want to wish you a Shabbat Shalom, and I'm wishing you blessings for health and well-being in 2024. And we'll look forward to seeing you on the other side of the new year on Tuesday, January 2nd. And if you're staying on, you're welcome to continue to sit with the beautiful practice that Kimmy introduced us to, or to share some reflections. We have a little bit less time than usual today for our conversation, but about 10 minutes. Kimmy, if that's okay with you. And if you have a question, you can just, of course, as always, just share what came up for you or share reflections on the teaching or the practice in the chat. It's always so rich and beautiful. And if you have a question you'd like to ask, please preface it by writing question all in caps. Kimmy, thank you so much. I really, as before you mentioned the solstice, that was on my mind. Um, because I always notice and I always appreciate, the day after, think, oh, starting to get, the days are starting to get longer. Oh, and I really can experience that viscerally, even if though it's so imperceptible at this stage of the year, right? It's just, I don't know, a couple of minutes maybe, right? And then it starts growing. I was thinking about how Hanukkah, and the light and the increasing the light of the Chanukiah kind of brings us into that flow. Of course, it doesn't always line up so well. So I really want to appreciate that. And I wanted to invite you to say a little bit. I don't know if I raised my hand when you asked about dreams, but I was certainly with you. Very vivid dreams, and not, I should say, pretty unpleasant dreams. Just want to invite you to, if you're, and I love the iguanas, the baby iguanas, which I'll be thinking about, and probably many of us will be thinking about. Maybe next time you can give us a report on how they're doing. So I don't know how many of us have iguanas living outside our window, so that's also really, really nice to have. So I just want to invite you to say a little bit more, if you'd like, about, especially, it's been such a hard time. It is such a hard time. It's such a confusing, challenging, deep, gotta strike challenging from the vocabulary. It's like we don't really have an adequate word anymore. But holding that heartbreak and heartache and hope at the same time. Maybe you can say a little bit more about that, because that's my takeaway from today, is that it's possible to hold both at the same time.
Absolutely. I'm just, I'm in tears just trying to hold it all. An impossible thing to hold.
Mm-hmm.
All of the things. And it's been very weird because the nature of the world that we're in the lives that we have, we're horrified and glued to the news and in contact with each other. And then at the same time, we have lives and jobs and taxes and happening. It's a very weird merging of realities. And it's been very disorienting, I know, for so many of us. But we've had to find ways to keep going and still hold these truths. And I turn to our tradition, just looking how do we handle this? How do we manage this? And as Jewish people, we've been taught to turn to one another. And what has been light for me has been seeing how people have been turning into community. And even at Jutina, creating spaces of processing, and not to try to problem solve or anything, but really just to be in all of what is. And that's what meditation asks us to do, is to just be with the impossible. And for those who have kind of been following, I guess, my story as I've shown up with our meditations, I've been spending more time in El Salvador because I've been searching for an understanding of my personal history that was really lost and taken away. And what I've found, I want to share a little bit about the strength I've found in my journey, because I think it's very relevant to what we're all experiencing now. The short story is that we had a very, very, very difficult civil war in 70s, 80s, 90s, and it just continued with violence, corruption. It forced the thousands out. That's why I was born in California. And being here and seeing how people who have survived all of that and how they continue to live and build life and community, and it's like, how did you do that? And being around that energy of creation and life, even in the face of the darkest of the dark, it's been medicine to my soul at this time. While I've felt very far away from my closest Jewish community in California, I've felt tremendous holding from the people here. And I've talked to some local folks. Actually, they're devout Christians, that they love Jews. I feel like I'm in the to be right now. But I've talked to several of them because they noticed that I've been grieving, and I would share with them, and they just, the way when they say, we're praying for you, and it will be okay, and your community will be okay. And I don't know what that means, but I really believe it coming from the people who have lived through these decades. So I don't know what any of that means, but I know that there's something there that can offer something to us at this time.
That's really so moving. Thank you for sharing all of that. Thinking about the lyrics from the Bhakti Levine song that you played at the outset, it's going to take time. You're doing okay. About the heart as a muscle contracting, expanding. I love there that it's going to take time is it actually could be a good tagline for the work that this mindfulness, right? It's like to emerge from like in dreams, to emerge from the unconscious, to allow dreams to happen. Just want to note that as well. Cheryl was asking, it's a good question. Maybe you can respond to this. Maybe you can say more about collective dreaming, how we might encourage and create community gatherings for dreaming. And Joseph, like just you pointed out, like the where we are, the juxtaposition of these Torah portions. It really strikes me as like a prototype of somebody who's able to just like be with things that like things are not going well for a long time for him. Yeah. And able to be with that, like, because he lives in that dream dimension of something is being revealed, like there's something deeper happening here, right?
Yeah.
And it is like, I think it's really wonderful for you to bring this up and lift this up for this sit at this particular juncture. So, what do you think about how we do that? How we encourage collective dreaming in this way?
It's a great question. I'm very inspired by what the yogis and the Eastern philosophies in general talk about, this collective consciousness. Mm-hmm. I believe we have nods to that in our Jewish culture as well. That we at any time we can tap into the collective, and meaning are the ways that we go into ourselves for our meditation by just imagining all of humanity. We can, I believe, we can get ourselves there in the same way that we can shift our bodies' energies from one state to another by meditating or by breathing differently. I think we can move into each other's space. It's mm-hmm. that experience when you're sitting in prayer or in song and you just feel like everyone is one. Why not? Why can't we access that? Mm-hmm. So what I'm inspired by is maybe before going into sleep, because we have two lives at any moment. We have our awake state and we have our sleep state. There's a whole world happening when we're asleep. And the reason we say modani in the morning is because we're calling our souls back. And our soul is doing something. They all go somewhere in our traditions, beliefs. And I kind of love that. And maybe as we go into sleep state, there's an intention that is set. May I connect with my kindred. May I connect with my community and my loved ones. May this state hold us in healing. And there can be work that happens in that place, just as we would by coming on a Zoom call in our waking life. We can go into the Zoom calls of our sleeping life to hold one.
I love the Zoom calls of our sleeping life. How did we get here?
Are we dreaming?
Are we dreaming, or is this a Zoom? There are people, by the way, I don't know if you're comfortable sharing how people can get in touch with you, both in terms of, people who might be coming to El Salvador, or people might be interested in retreats you're offering, or the offerings of Jutina. Maybe if you don't mind, if you're open to doing that, we can put that in the chat.
Absolutely.
People can contact you.
I would absolutely love that. I've been in my own journey of discovering what exactly am I offering and who exactly am I, and I'm very happy to find that I'm getting closer and closer to what that means. And for the stage in my life, it's about people together to explore healing and growth, and I want to do that everywhere. So I kind of live between California and El Salvador at the moment. And I put my email in the chat. And if you do want to connect and you want to learn about different experiences or classes that I'm offering, both virtually or in person, please write to me and I'll get you on a list as I am making a calendar for 2024. And to learn about the work that we're doing at Jutina, where we're working really hard to bring Latin Jews together to also find ways to celebrate all of their identities, please come visit us at Jutina.
That's really inspiring, everything, your personal journey as well as the work of Jutina. So thank you so much, as always, Kimmy. It's really so good to be with you. I want to wish you lots of blessings for Shabbat Shalom and many blessings in 2024, and good time with your family over the next period. And to each of you for being here, I want to wish, of course, everyone Shabbat Shalom. May it be restorative and restful for you. And we'll look forward to seeing you on January 2nd when we pick up with our regular schedule. And of course, to Jordan for holding our tech space today, as always, so skillfully. And thank you, Jordan, for all of that. All right, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Be well.
Shalom.